told, the last thing a YouTuber sees before their video is copyrighted, demonetized, and claimed for review and everything, and automatically taken down off of the YouTube website. But what happens? Well, what do they see if they don't get the video unblocked, no matter how hard they work on it? Sure, why not? I could see that happening. Just some people. Ooh. Yes, that's right. Today on Lazy Cinema, I'm taking a look at Rampage, based off the video games under the same movie, directed by Brad Pitt. The movie stars pro wrestler and action superstar Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as a primatologist that's trying to help an ape, while at the same time trying to stop said giant ape, and while also trying to save the world by defeating one monster at a time. Even though Rampage is based off of a video game franchise, being the Midway arcade game that of the same name, it's not a very good film for what it's trying to do, because with the Rampage games, there's not a lot of story that's going around. You're just a giant monster going around destroying buildings. And of course, this movie only had the classic three: George, Lizzie, and Ralph. George is a gorilla, Lizzie is an alligator, and George is a wolf. Ralph is a wolf. So, the whole concept of the thing begins in space. Weird enough as it is, and a woman is being chased by a giant rat, I would assume, or mouse, and so she gets climbed into a safety shuttle. The shuttle goes, blows up, and these pods are launched into different places. One is next to a wolf, the birth of Ralph, one is next to Lizzie, and the other is next to George. Dwayne Johnson plays a man named Davis, Davis Okoye, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. And he's the guy that works with George. They speak in sign language, which of course a lot of people, if they know about primatologists, they do tend to speak in sign language with gorillas. Helps them become much more knowledgeable and smart, basically. But then after that, George starts growing, and I'm not over shit. And then it all becomes basically like Godzilla versus Kong. It just all goes straight into the action. The one thing that this movie does is that it's very dialogue driven, and it doesn't get going until the monster action. It's like it moves in a fast pace, and then it slows down when the monsters start to get bigger and they start to play it out a little bit more. I gotta give the movie credit. The monster design do look good. They look like they stand out on their own. I'm glad that they did not choose the goofy looks that the characters had in the Midway arcade. I'm glad that they didn't do that. The best one that really sticks out, aside from George, is probably Lizzie. And Lizzie stands out the most. She looks like something straight out of a sci-fi channel movie. But it's not very good. I mean, Dwayne Johnson is doing his best, and really, he's giving it his all. He's a great actor in this. But everybody else is playing this like it's a comedy, and it's like, it technically is an action comedy, but at the same time, it's not. It's supposed to be an action movie, and really, Rampage doesn't really get going until about past the half hour mark, or past the hour mark. And this is a little over an hour and a half long, and what really sucks about it is that it really prides on using the time. Because we don't get to know about the other characters until basically an hour in. And that's what sucked, because it's like, okay, we don't know nothing about Dwayne Johnson's character, and then we learn he's an ex-military man who also joined the wildlife preservation because he hates poachers. Why does he hate poachers? They explain that even later in the film. It's like, okay, we need, this would have been helpful if you just told the story of George first before you decided to get into the whole freaking shenanigans with the monsters. Also with Lizzie, you don't see her officially until after the 1 hour mark, and it's like, maybe they forgot that she was in there. I have no idea. But yeah, there's a lot of awkward moments in this. There's this one character that's a brother and sister. His name is Brett, and he's always eating. I don't know if the joke is that he's always hungry or if that's just a joke in general. And his sister Claire always had like these sexy dresses on and whatnot, like her breasts are like purposely pushed up, and I'm like, is that supposed to be a way to get people's attention for this movie? I don't know what you want me to say, Rampage. But Rampage is pretty good duet. Is pretty greatly directed by Brad Payton. He did a pretty good job at making it what he wanted it to be. Sadly, while it's goofy entertaining, it's not great entertainment. Like, I could put this on and just be with friends and we could all watch this and laugh about it and whatnot, but for a movie standing on its own, it's not very good. If you have seen Rampage, then you know what you're in for. Just giant monster action, much like the old Toho Godzilla films. Or the new one nowadays. It's just a bunch of giant monsters beating the crap out of each other and destroying buildings. It's what some people would want, and it's cool for me. But it's like the action is very cool. The action scenes are very well handled, but I would like more to the story so I can get noticed to the characters a little bit more. And there was a nod where Dwayne Johnson said "You're welcome" in almost a Maui style voice, and I'm like, is that a nod to him being in Moana, which I think came out at the same time in 2018, the same time as Rampage? I'm like, is that a Moana reference? I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure it was intentional, or Moana came out before Rampage. Either or, it was a Rampage. It was a Moana nod in Rampage. But check out Rampage if you want to. It's goofy, fun action, but sadly for me, it's not a very good movie. It's not great pace, there's no great character development, but for action and whatnot, it does pay well and attention to that. Although for me, it's kind of good, but the execution with the story is kind of lackluster. They also do one of the worst jokes and one of the worst cliches ever towards the end. No spoilers, but I saw it coming, and then when they switched it around, I'm like, I still saw that coming too. So let me know what you guys thought about Rampage in the comment section down below. As for me, it's not one of my favorites. I'm not gonna do a rating system yet, probably next year. And so, guys, I will see you guys all next time. But why don't we have a closing out clip from Rampage? So, what do we have for the closing out clip?